Yo, 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 welcome to Hard Pass. I am your host, Jacques Slade. It's the show that misses the days when we could pull off this wild feat of athleticism. You know what's a surefire sign you're getting old? When your reaction to this clip isn't, wow, that's impressive, I'm gonna follow that kid on TikTok. It's, wow, I hope that kid doesn't have multiple surgeries in his future. Let's start with some hot takes. The 17-time world champion Los Angeles Lakers put up banner number 17 in the rafters of Staples Centers this week. That's the story. If you're still trying to chase a PlayStation 5, then you're not going to like this piece of news. According to a chat with analysts, Sony doesn't expect the current shortage to get better until 2022 thanks to the semiconductor shortage that was brought on by the pandemic and trade wars with China. Looks like some people are going to have to resort to StockX to get their fix, which I can't lie, I'm kind of disappointed it only comes with the tamper-proof sticker on the box. Like, where's the tag that's supposed to be attached to the PS5? How is a hypebeast supposed to walk around flexing with the PS5 like when the iPads were new if it doesn't have a hang tag attached to it? Come on, StockX, do it for the clout chasers. Y'all gotta do better. In today's Let's Make Everybody Feel Old Again segment, Blake Griffin wore a pair of McGriffin Air Jordan 35 player exclusives this past week. For you TikTokers out there, that's a reference to the movie Superbad, which is 14 years old. Damn, I was like 5 years old in 2007. Anyways, if you look real close, you can also see that the address is where the Pistons play, which means these were made when Blake Griffin was still in Detroit. Huh. I thought PJ Tucker wearing player exclusives of other players on different teams was a little creepy. This has a lot of keeping a picture of your ex in your camera roll when you're with someone else already type of energy. Because people are treating Pokemon cards like Jordan Retros, Target is now shutting down their sales of the cards starting this past Friday because nobody knows how to act right. As somebody who has seen this foolishness in person, I don't blame Target. It really is as dumb as it sounds. Look, I'm not going to be the person who says, think about the kid who just wants the cards to play, because I have nephews and nieces who know the hustle and either stash and protect their best cards and only play with their commons. But I will shame grown-ass men who hoard the cards for themselves and don't let others get their share. Like, buy one to sell now and buy one to stash it for later. That's it. Before we move on to the next segment, I just want to take the time to acknowledge the passing of a true titan in the sneaker industry, Paul Van Doren. He was a co-founder of Vans along with his brother Jim and several friends. According to NBC News, the Van Doren Rubber Company was established in early 1966 as a factory and store in Anaheim, and in the move that predates Nike by You by decades, they were able to take custom orders for shoes priced at $2.49 in the morning and have them done that same afternoon. Their shoes will become popular with skaters in the 1970s, and in 1982, the checkerboard Vans would go mainstream when Sean Penn wore them in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Van Doren would sell the company in 1989 for $75 million. Today, Vans is owned by the same conglomerate that owns Supreme and other hypebeast staples, and potentially is worth around $4 billion, which, if we're basing it off the dozens of people we see wear Vans every day, seems kinda low. Condolences to the Van Doren family, but also congratulations, because even though Vans doesn't generate the headlines that Nike or Adidas can in the sneaker world, they are the one brand that truly transcends all walks of life. So last week, we talked about Kevin Durant's appearance on The Sneaker Game, the new show hosted by Nick DiPaolo on Durant's Boardroom platform. Makes sense, KD should be the first guest considering he's only one of 3 athletes to have made it to the 14 signature shoes with one brand while still being an active player. The other 2 being Michael Jordan and LeBron James. But let's dive a little deeper into that conversation that KD and Nick had, because it got me thinking about brand loyalty and clout chasing and bag securing and how all of those things intertwine when stars decide what brand they're going to go with. There are the superstars who might be willing to take less in the short term because they see the value in having an uninterrupted signature line. Like, even though KD sort of downplayed his sneaker free agency in 2014, that was the dominant sneaker news story in the summer of 2014. Besides whatever Kanye West was up to at the time. There were reports that Under Armour's offer was somewhere north of $250 million, and KD himself admitted that they were going to give him a sort of nebulous title like president of basketball, which had a lot of creative director and executive vice president sort of vibes to it if you think about it. Nike would ultimately match Under Armour's offer and reportedly even surpassed it, but that wasn't always the case when it came to KD. In 2007, when Durant was coming out of college, it was Adidas who had the bigger offer along with the higher signing bonus. Nike's offer came in slightly less, banking on Durant's loyalty to the swoosh since that was the on-court sneaker brand of choice ever since he was a kid. They employed a similar strategy a few years earlier when they signed LeBron James in 2003. Back then, it was Reebok who came in with a monster $115 million offer compared to Nike's $90 million. That's a wide gap in money no matter how you look at it. But James ultimately chose Nike because, again, the brand was worth the pay cut. Then you got these lifers who, for one reason or another, never showed an interest in moving on, at least outwardly. Tracy McGrady, Derrick Rose, and Damian Lillard have all been with Adidas since day one, and barring a wild circumstance in the future, I don't see Rose or Dame going anywhere. Same goes for Allen Iverson, although he does stray every once in a while with an occasional appearance wearing Jordan Retros. Both Steph Curry and Klay Thompson could have been Nike lifers, but they took the chance, and now Steph is building up the Curry brand with Under Armour, while Klay is an internet legend thanks to his Anna trips to China. But that's not always the route stars choose. Some choose to bet on themselves and take their talents wherever it makes sense for them at the time. The late Kobe Bryant was with Adidas for the first several years of his career before buying out his Adidas contract and signing with Nike the same year as James. While Bryant would ultimately have a very fruitful and long-running signature shoe line with Nike, he was reportedly on the way out and taking meetings to build his own brand prior to his passing. Dwyane Wade was a relative unknown compared to LeBron and Carmelo Anthony in 2003, and that was evident since he started his shoe journey with Converse. As Wade's star rose, he moved over to Jordan Brand in 2009 during arguably the most creatively dry period of Jumpman's history. Why? I don't know. Did you see the Air Jordan 2010? The Jordan Fly Wades? Remember those? I doubt it. Anyways, Wade would make the dramatic move over to Chinese brand Li Ning in 2012 and ultimately signed a lifetime deal with them in 2018. For Kobe and D Wade, the ability to control their own destiny was worth more than the allure of wearing Nikes and Jordans. And then you got Jimmy Butler, who maybe overvalued the allure more than even LeBron or KD had. In 2014, Butler made the jump from Adidas to Jordan Brand and, according to his agent, took a 75% pay cut to do so. If I were Jimmy's agent at that time, that 75% pay cut at the time would also come with a resignation letter that says, "What the f*** are you doing?" In an interview with GQ, Butler talked about how it wasn't about the money, which, all things considered, makes him one of the few athletes who could back that claim. He says that the move wasn't necessarily a knock to Adidas, but he did get hurt playing in Adidas and that he never had that problem in college when he was wearing Nikes and Jordans. Later in the interview, he says that he doesn't see himself leaving Jordan Brand. Well, flash forward to 2020, and he's now the current face of Li Ning, reportedly signing a deal worth around $3 million a year. So what changed? Did Butler sacrifice too much money during his prime years for the sake of wearing Jordans on the court and exclusive retros off the court? Is he not worth the big money sneaker deal from Portland, even though he led the Miami Heat to the NBA Finals last season, doing something a lot of current signature shoe athletes have not been able to do? Did he have a long wine tasting session with Dwyane Wade and Mark Wahlberg and they both told him he was out of his damn mind and that he was crazy for leaving money on the table? Like, on a significantly smaller scale, I can kind of relate to Jimmy's situation. When I ran the New York Marathon a few years back, I had sponsorship offers from the major brands. Despite getting slightly larger deals on the table with other brands, I chose to go with Nike. Why? The allure. Like, I felt like the bigger deals were all that, but man, that Nike allure called me right back. I don't know. Maybe I'm just thinking out loud here for a few minutes, but let me know what you think. Is the allure of a Nike or a Jordan deal worth the monetary sacrifice? It's the Heat Check, where we bring you everything that's dropping this week. Let's start things off with dunks that have either been delayed, will probably get delayed, or will drop, and we'll get videos of kids fighting over them for the clout, like their secret rare VMAX Pikachu 188 of 185 graded PSA 10s. Yes, that's very specific, and no, I don't have any that you know of. Women's Nike Dunk Low Photon Dust on the 19th for $100, kids Nike Dunk Low Tropical Twist on the 20th for $85, and the women's Nike Dunk Low Barely Green on May 21st for $100. Now, we have the Adidas Yeezy 500 High Sumac on the 17th for $220. According to the Spruce Eats, sumac is a spice that is popular in the Middle East. It is related to the poisonous shrub by the same name, but the culinary variety is safe to use and is easily identifiable by its vibrant red berries. Poisonous sumac is white. Adidas Yeezy 500 High Tactile Orange, May 17th for $220. If you're in the mechanical keyboard scene, then you'll know that the Razer Orange key switch is the middle ground for those who want the tactile feel, but without the clickety-clack of Razer green key switches. It might not be the ideal solution for gamers who either prefer green or yellow, but then again, I have no idea what any of this means. I'm just reading the teleprompter. We have the concepts Nike Kyrie 7 Oris on the 19th for $130. So this is the part where I just shamelessly plug that I did a whole unboxing video on this pair and that you should watch it. Yeah, I should definitely do that. It's a good video. The energy was pretty good. My performance was top notch. Check it out. Nike Air Max Pre-Day Pure Platinum on the 20th for $130. After, let's say, a flashier debut colorway during Air Max Day, the Pre-Day gets a more subdued look with a clean Pure Platinum upper with tiny hits of yellow. Then we have the Air Jordan 35 Low Cosmic Deception on May 20th for $175. We might have to wait a little longer for a proper Luka Doncic signature shoe, but for now, let's enjoy yet another pair that I can shamelessly plug my unboxing video. Production value is well done, I think. Air Jordan 1 Low OG Ghost Green, May 21st for $130. What's up with mini swooshes on the forefoot? Like, I understand calling these the OG lows since the Wings logo was placed at the heel tab and whatnot, but that tiny swoosh is throwing me off, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Adidas Yeezy Quantum Flash Orange on the 22nd for $250, also known as Flaora, which is basically an amalgamation of Flash and Orange. Okay, has anybody ever noticed that the comic book character Flash and his many iterations, including Bad Guy Reverse Flash, has never had an orange suit, despite the fact that they are most famous for wearing either red or yellow suits? All I'm saying is that if they debut a new costume anytime soon and he's called Flash Orange, I'm going to take credit for it before Kanye. And then my pick of the week is the Air Jordan 7 PSG on May 22nd for $215. If it wasn't for the PSG branding and Eiffel Tower silhouette on the heel, I would argue this is like a new version of the Olympic Air Jordan 7. But maybe the piece that intrigues me most about these new PSG Jordans are the use of mesh panels on the upper. I've always gotten Huarache vibes from the Air Jordan 7, and this basically backs up my hunch. And now for a heat check on Breanna Stewart's signature shoe deal. After what feels like an eternity, and let's be honest, it was an eternity, Stewart will have a sneaker to call her own. After a long-time partnership with Nike that dates back to college, where she won 4 NCAA championships and 4 Final Four Most Outstanding Player awards, a feat no woman or man has ever achieved, the 2-time WNBA champion and EuroLeague champion has signed a multi-year deal with Puma. The timing couldn't be better as the WNBA is riding a wave of popularity as they begin their 25th season this past Friday. Thanks to an influx of stars like Stewart, A'ja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, and more, the past few years increased in visibility with more televised games, the support from NBA stars like Kyrie Irving and legends like the late Kobe Bryant, not to mention the league's commitment and leadership role in the promoting social change in this country. We're at a tipping point with not only the WNBA, but with signature shoes. Let's be honest here for a second. We've been talking about men's signature products quite a bit for the past few weeks now, and it hasn't entirely been positive. First of all, it should not have taken 10 years for another WNBA player to get a signature shoe. Second, it's time for a fresh perspective on signature products. Very few signature shoes now hit in the way that they used to a decade ago, which ironically was the last time a WNBA player had a signature shoe, Candace Parker's Adidas TS Ace Commander. By the way, since Adidas is all about Reebok collabs at the moment, they should bring back the Ace Commander and create a special colorway that highlights Parker constantly getting on Shaq's nerves on Inside the NBA. Do that before you sell the brand, Adidas. I got you. Anyways, why shouldn't a brand like Puma take a flyer on the consensus best player in the WNBA right now? Like, are we really that excited for a Nike PG6? Try something new, people. Wouldn't you rather see what a brand could do for someone like Kaiser Gondrezick, a WNBA rookie who signed a long-term deal with Adidas? Why didn't Nike step up and do it before Puma? They could have done more retros of Sheryl Swoop's signature shoes in the meantime to get people hyped up, or, you know, at least bring back the one that the older heads were actually clamoring for, like the Nike Air Swoops Zoom. Apologies to the Swoops 2 retro from a few years ago, but the Air Swoop Zoom would have been a fire retro in 2021 and would honestly look better than most of Nike's current signature lineup. Nike still has Ionescu, Jewel Lloyd, and Elena Delle Donne, who was the prominent figure in the marketing of the Nike Air Zoom universe, but it's different when the shoe has your name on it, which is what Stewart will have a chance to do with Puma. The downside is that since we are so early in the deal, we might not see that Stewart signature shoe until the 2022 WNBA season, so Stewart will probably rock player exclusive and customized colorways of the RS Dreamer and the Court Rider. Naturally, there's going to be some blowback from a move like this, like, come on, Jacques, you know these brands are just doing this to capitalize off the WNBA's popularity, or blah blah woke culture, blah blah blah. Yeah, no. All of these brands are doing it to capitalize off the current popularity of the WNBA. Part of it is that it's the right thing to do, and the other part is that it's good public relations and has the potential to be a huge growth market. What are you, new? Do you think Nike gives Michael Jordan $150 million a year out of the goodness of their hearts? No, it's because the Jumpman makes Nike billions. Like, we can fawn over the allure of the swoosh or the Jumpman like we did in the last segment, but let's never forget that these are corporations, and corporations are not our friends. Maybe Nike sees the WNBA as a brand as being the most important thing right now, and that's why they're promoting the newly designed jerseys, the super cool elite socks, and the Hypebeast approved hoodie. Puma signing Stewart is a way for them to carve out their own niche in a growing market, and together they can lift each other up in ways that we can't even imagine right now. While we wait for the signature Puma Stewie 1, what if we see J. Cole rock her jersey or Seattle-inspired colorways of the Dreamer 2? We haven't heard from Rihanna in a while in the sneaker world, but could we see her re-up with Puma and work on something with Stewart or other Puma athletes like Skylar Diggins-Smith? When all of the stories about Puma's resurgence was popping up a few years ago, many credited the comeback to their partnership with Rihanna. So the brand knows the power and the cachet that comes with giving women the keys that drive the car. If Breanna Stewart can produce on the court this season and next while delivering on a Puma signature shoe that Hooper women and men will want to wear, then this could have the potential to be Nike's biggest blunder since they let Steph Curry go. And if it isn't a success, I sure hope that Puma, Nike, Adidas, and Jordan Brand don't wait another 10 years to try again. We still won't care about the Nike PG-16. Take a hint, guys. It's time for this week's Hard Pass. We take a look at something in the culture that just needs to go, like calling these Air Max 1s. A new picture of what is allegedly the Travis Scott Nike Air Max 1 has made its way to the internet, and the response seems to be split down the middle, as is the case with most Travis sneakers. One side loves them and everything Travis does, and the other side hates them and everything Travis does. But I think the one thing I think both sides can agree on, other than everybody is going to try and get them to resell them, is that these are not really Air Max 1s. The upper is almost completely redesigned. The tooling may have gotten a tweak or two, and the swoosh bears little resemblance to the original. It's an Air Max shoe, but it's not the Air Max 1. Now, I realize this is nothing more than sneaker semantics, but too much has changed for this to qualify as a proper Air Max 1. Like, I understand his Jordan 1 collab still being Jordan 1s. The reverse swoosh is a bold and daring change for the Jordan 1, but in the end, they still look like Jordan 1s. This alleged Air Max 1 is not an Air Max 1. Maybe call it the Travis Scott Nike Air Max 1.5 or Air Max It's Lit or Air Max La Flame. I don't know. Just don't call it Air Max 1. Anyway, this week's Hard Pass goes to FedEx and UPS. So this past week, we saw several viral posts on social media showing how companies like FedEx and UPS have mishandled sneaker deliveries. The damage ranged from the boxes being crushed to the shoes themselves looking like factory defects. It's not a good look. It's a topic that pops up every so often, and it feels like there are hundreds, if not thousands of stories like this from sneakerheads all around the world. But here's the thing, I'm not one of them. In fact, other than a delayed arrival or maybe a ding or two on the edges, I have never had problems with the ways FedEx, UPS, or the post office has handled my sneaker packages. I've been doing this for over a decade and not one incident. Now, the tenor of this segment could go one of two ways. The first, I could bring back co-writer and let him go off, giving you a whole rant where he talks about how entitled he is and that he's sneaker royalty and therefore is on the sneaker delivery whitelist, so of course all his packages gets the luxury treatment. And then he could make jokes about the people who got their stuff damaged and say something like they need to get on his level so that when the FedEx or UPS guy sees a package that's addressed to his house, it's treated like yellow cake wrapped in a special CIA napkin. Yeah, that's definitely something co-writer would say. Or we could go the other way and show some empathy. Like, that sucks, man. Imagine you take multiple L's on the sneakers app every Saturday for what feels like an eternity, and then finally one day you hit. It's the Chicago 1s, a pair you've been hoping and praying to the sneaker gods for. You finally get that got 'em message. It's the best sneaker-related feeling in the world. Yes, I had to qualify that because if I just said best feeling in the world, you guys would probably think I need to get a life. Anyways, after a few days of waiting and checking the app, you finally get a text message because you signed up for notifications that says it's out for delivery. You eagerly pace around the door hoping that delivered by the end of day doesn't actually mean delivered by 8 p.m. while you're having dinner, and it's really weird and awkward when you jump around like a giddy child when you hear the doorbell at 8 p.m. and your family looks at you wondering why a grown-ass man is jumping around like a giddy child. Not that that's ever happened to me. But yeah. You finally get those Chicago 1s, but to your horror and dismay, the box looks like this and the shoes like this. Like, I have never had that feeling, but I can empathize with that. Just because it's never been my problem doesn't mean it's not a problem. And it sucks sometimes when I try to address problems in the community and I get and the comments are like, well, Jacques, I don't know why you care because you're an influencer, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can acknowledge the great fortune and privilege that I have while at the same time be a part of the solution to problems that plague the sneaker world. In this case, it's going to take a lot more than viral posts to get FedEx and UPS to acknowledge this. It's going to take segments like this, nonstop chatter on social, and as much as it sucks, we need Ja Rule to weigh in on this. When we are bamboozled, when we are led astray, we need Ja Rule to lead the way. Okay, maybe not actual Ja Rule, but sneaker celebrities with large followings. And I don't mean me. I'm talking about actual celebrities. If Elon Musk can supposedly affect the price of Dogecoin with a bad joke on SNL, somebody in his orbit can get him hyped for Supreme Air Force Ones, and then he'll complain when his packages come in messed up. It won't solve the problem of human error in drivers who know the value of sneakers and keep them for themselves, but it's a start if we can get them to hear us. All right. That's going to do it for this episode of Hard Pass. As always, thank you for watching. I am Jacques Slade. I'll see you next week, but not before I show you the OG Metroid like you've never seen it before in voxels. Great. Now I'm kind of dizzy. I'll see you next week. Peace.